Oh my gosh. Okay, so hi. So today I'm gonna try to start a new series because I love pharm. Like I absolutely love pharmacology. So I want to have something that is more nursing based because I've looked a lot on YouTube. Trust me. Like I spent a lot of time on YouTube during nursing school, and there were some really great YouTubers and really great resources um for pharmacology, but there wasn't like a catch-all, like one channel, one thing, whatever. Um, I'm not saying that's gonna be me, but I am saying that I have literally taken all my farm notes and I have them like so nicely like done in my good notes, and just all the things that ever popped up, anything that was super big, anything that I ever didn't know and I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I would always add it to the same place so it's all like in one section and looking so nice. And I don't want to like lose the information that I have for farm. So like for you and for me, I could just go over farm with you guys and just give you like the biggest like need to know NCLEX things, and even some other little things that you'll probably see like in Kaplan, you'll see in ATI, you'll see in all these other random nursing things. And you're like, what? Like no one ever told me that. Well, it's likely to be in here. Disclaimer, this is like for entertainment purposes, because I'm like an entertainer. No, I'm not. But it's definitely just, I think it's very helpful. And you can go ahead and check with your own notes and check with your own knowledge, what you know, what you have, and what you may need. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty solid. Farm is great. And farm can be really fun. Farm can be really fun. And I'll definitely leave some links to resources that I used for farm, because there were some resources that I absolutely loved for farm. But again, they just didn't have everything. So let's just go over some farm. First, we're going to start off with GI because I absolutely love GI. I don't know why, but I do. So I just made a super cute one. So let's get started on that. Okay, so we can go ahead and start off with our protein pump inhibitors, otherwise known as PPIs. They are always going to have the drug ending prazole. Okay, so not azole, no dazzles, just prazole. And you'll see with other drugs, because other drugs will have very similar endings, but not prazole endings. So if you see a prazole, it's going to be a PPI. So the mechanism of action is that it's going to go ahead and decrease gastric acid. In your farm book, you can go ahead and see how exactly this works, what receptors they target in the stomach. For NCLEX, specifically for an NCLEX review, you do not need to know the exact molecular, how it acts on a molecular level, how this interacts with this. You just need to know that it decreases the gastric acid. But definitely while you are studying in nursing school, I always found that it was really helpful if I kind of broke it down and I really understood it to the best of my abilities, the way that it does explain it in your farm book. So I would recommend that. But for an NCLEX review, knowing that it decreases gastric acid is key. And that's honestly like all you really have to know for NCLEX at this point. So what exactly are we going to treat with a PPI? So it is going to treat and prevent gastric ulcers. So obviously we could also use it for prophylaxis. It can also help to prevent GERD or help to soothe GERD, because GERD is what happens when you have a whole bunch of acid in your stomach and actually you have reflux and it comes back up, and that can damage the esophagus, and that could lead to Barrett's esophagus, esophageal cancer. No bueno. So it can be very helpful. GERD and just general discomfort that can accompany GERD. Then we can go ahead and move on to the risks. So one of the biggest risks that you are going to see, it's highlighted here, it's going to be osteoporosis. And we will get into why that is, or why they think, like experts think that it does cause osteoporosis, but that's one of the biggest ones. I did put pneumonia here because I've read that it can possibly cause pneumonia. That being said, on an exam personally, I've never had a question about a PPI causing pneumonia. I've never seen that before, but it was there. It can also increase the risk for C. diff, and I think I may have seen that on something that I've taken. I feel like I've seen it, and I've definitely read it. So it is it does increase the patient's risk for C. diff. Very important to understand. It doesn't cause C. diff. It does not cause C. diff. It only increases the patient's risk of contracting C. diff. Okay. And then another big thing that I have seen around a bit, but not too much, something that we also have to pay attention to is that gastric acid, that's this GA right here, gastric acid is needed for vitamin B12 absorption. And why is that exactly? Gastric acid is going to go ahead and break down food. And when it breaks down food, it is going to release vitamin B12, and then vitamin B12 can go ahead and be absorbed by the small intestine. Now, the issue is that this drug is going to decrease our gastric acid. And if we're decreasing our gastric acid, that means that less and less food is being broken down completely. And that means less nutrients are going to be able to be released from that food. Because of this, the patient does have a risk of low vitamin B12 absorption. Then we can go ahead and move on to patient education. So we're saying that we need calcium and vitamin D supplements because PPIs can possibly cause osteoporosis, because experts believe that with long-term use of PPIs, there's a decrease in the absorption of calcium within the intestines, and thereby that long-term use of the PPI can cause a chronic condition such as osteoporosis. And then our last little bit of patient education over here would be to take 30 minutes before meals. So you should be taking a PPI 30 minutes before meals, not with meals, not after, not during, but before. And we would want to do that because we want to make sure that less gastric acid is actually being produced. And when you eat, gastric acid will be produced because it wants to break down that food to help you absorb those nutrients. But we want to make sure that there is a limit to that. And that is why we would take them before meals instead of during or after meals. Okay, and that is it. I hope you really liked the first episode of these drugs, and I'm so excited actually to like keep doing it because I feel like my brain is just big brain at this point. Not really. I just feel like it keeps me going, you know? So it keeps me smart and like in the know. I don't know. I hope you really liked it and I had fun, and pharm is fun and it can be fun for you too. And make sure to check down below for just helpful links and resources that I found to just be amazing for pharm, and it made it really exciting and interesting. And yeah, so I will see you in the next video. Bye. So here, obviously, I drew a beautiful, beautiful stick figure. I'm known for my stick figures. It's kind of my thing.